Chinese automakers, once confined to the domestic market, are causing discomfort for former automotive giants worldwide. Not only in Southeast Asia but also in Europe and the United States, an increasing number of Chinese cars are making their presence felt. At the Munich Motor Show a few months ago, a staggering 47 Chinese automakers participated, second only to the host country, Germany. The German Chancellor, during the opening ceremony of the Munich Motor Show, delivered an impassioned speech, rallying with the famous slogan, "Don't be intimidated by the rise of Chinese brands." According to export data from January to September 2023 for passenger vehicles, China has exported a staggering 2.677 million units, marking a 68% year-on-year growth. At this rate, China is set to surpass Japan in annual automobile exports, becoming the world's largest exporter. Despite the favorable situation, Chinese automakers are realizing a significant challenge: the soaring cost of shipping. Since 2020, the dedicated roll-on roll-off ships used for transporting cars have seen a drastic increase in rental fees. The daily rental cost for a single ship, which used to be $10,000, skyrocketed to over $100,000 by July last year, reaching an astonishing $150,000 per day this year. At this rate, Chinese automakers are on the verge of becoming employees of the shipowners. To make matters worse, these shipowners are mostly maritime companies from Japan and South Korea. Even if Chinese automakers are willing to pay for the ships, they have to wait in line for availability. Consequently, they have collectively turned their attention to shipbuilding. BYD, riding high on success, ordered 8 roll-on roll-off ships with a capacity of 7,700 cars each, totaling nearly 5 billion yen. Recently, the New York Times reported that shipyards worldwide, holding orders for nearly 200 car transport ships, are closely tied to China. The new campaign initiated by Chinese automakers is sweeping across the globe. For Chinese cars to go global, maritime transportation has always been essential. According to historical data, the proportion of Chinese automotive exports transported by sea has consistently accounted for about 80% of the total automotive exports. Among them, the roll-on roll-off ship, designed specifically for transporting cars, is the preferred choice for automakers going global. Not only is it relatively cheaper, but it also provides better protection for the vehicles. For instance, shipping a car from China to South America using a container ship costs approximately $1,700 for a one-way trip, while using a roll-on or roll-off ship costs only around $1,300. With a tight shipping capacity, freight costs naturally become exorbitant. In a bid to regain control, companies like BYD, SAIC Motor, Chery Automobile, and even new players like NIO are gearing up to invest heavily in shipbuilding. BYD, in particular, is making the most extravagant moves. In early 2022, netizens noticed that BYD expanded its business scope to include ship management, port cargo handling, and unloading services. Later, it invested 5 billion yen and placed an order for 8 roll-on roll-off ships, including 2 with options, from a major shipyard in Yangtai, Shandong. What does 5 billion yen represent? It's close to 1/3 of BYD's net profit last year. SAIC Motor Group is set to surpass 1.2 million units in overseas sales in 2023, currently holding the title of the domestic carmaker with the largest self-operated fleet. In a bid to enhance shipping capacity, SAIC Motor Group placed an order for 2 roll-on roll-off ships with 7,600 car spaces each from Jiangnan Shipyard in January of last year. Moreover, in June of this year, Wu Shipyard undertook the construction of 3 LNG dual-fuel car transport ships with 7,000 car spaces each, for a joint venture subsidiary of Chery Automobile. However, did you know? The grand undertaking of shipbuilding by Chinese carmakers is, unfortunately, a measure forced by the stranglehold of Japan and South Korea. The significant investment by Chinese carmakers in shipbuilding, whether to reduce transportation costs or enhance transport stability, ultimately aims to seize control. This becomes particularly crucial and urgent when this control still remains in the hands of other countries. Shipbuilding tasks take on increased importance and urgency. While China is already a major player in automotive exports, the capacity of Chinese roll-on or roll-off ships is painfully small. According to research data, as of February 2023, of the 700-plus roll-on Roll-off ships engaged in global maritime transport. Japan, Norway, and South Korea collectively hold almost 70% of the market share, with China contributing less than 3%. Even this 3% is primarily utilized for domestic transportation. Consequently, Chinese carmakers find themselves at a disadvantage when expanding globally. On the other hand, maritime companies from Japan and South Korea are not lenient towards Chinese carmakers. First and foremost, their prices are higher. Geely mentioned in 2005 that the shipping cost alone for exporting a car from China to South America is $1,300 to $1,500, 5% to 10% more expensive than their Japanese and Korean counterparts. At that time, Geely's exported cars were mostly low-cost vehicles with production costs ranging from $3,000 to $8,000. In the business environment, it's unsurprising for the dominant party to find ways to maximize profits. What adds to the discomfort of Chinese carmakers is the priority of boarding. Japan and South Korea are also major players in car exports, and many of their maritime companies are deeply tied to domestic car manufacturers. As a result, as competitors to Chinese carmakers, Japanese and Korean car manufacturers receive preferential treatment in shipping orders, sometimes even jumping the queue. The lifeline of transportation for Chinese carmakers going global is thus firmly controlled by their competitors. A representative from Chery Automobile once helplessly mentioned that the inability to guarantee transportation capacity led to delays in fulfilling some export contracts, impacting both export volume and reputation. Even in the past 2 years, as strong Chinese carmakers wanted to use roll-on or roll-off ships, they had to book several months in advance. As Chinese carmakers make significant strides overseas, challenges are inevitable. The automotive industry is a pillar industry in some developed countries, and they won't easily let Chinese carmakers snatch a piece of their pie. Like product competition and technological competition, the battle for maritime transport capacity is just one aspect. Fortunately for Chinese carmakers, this hurdle should not be insurmountable. With their current strength, Chinese carmakers are well equipped to overcome this stumbling block. The core reason lies in the development of roll-on, roll-off ships, intricately linked to the nation's automotive industry. In the past, Japanese and Korean maritime companies were able to quickly monopolize the industry, because Japanese and Korean car manufacturers experienced a boom in the global market in the 70s and 80s. Conversely, in the preceding decades, China was not a major player in automotive exports, so the development of roll-on, roll-off ships was stunted. For instance, as early as 2007, Chery acquired a century-old shipyard and announced grand plans for shipbuilding. However, in the following decade, not a single roll-on or roll-off ship from Chery was launched. Just as they were gearing up, the 2008 financial crisis hit. The production and sales of major automotive nations in Europe and America visibly declined, directly impacting newly emerging Chinese automotive brands. For a whole decade, Chery's roll-on or roll-off ships remained only on paper. It wasn't until 2018 that the shipyard finally launched a roll-on or roll-off ship. However, it was a modest 800-car capacity vessel, limited to domestic long-distance routes. Compared to the ambitious plans of 11 years prior, the difference is vast. Subsequently, Wu Shipyard continued to be in a state of suspension, shelved by Chery, until the beginning of this year when the project was officially launched. In the inaugural batch of orders, SAIC Motor Group has secured 3 revolutionary LNG dual-fuel car transport ships, boasting a capacious 7,000 car capacity each. According to reports cited by the International Shipping Network, all 3 ships are sourced from the parent company, Chery Automobile, and are anticipated to be deployed on routes connecting China to South America and China to Europe. Now, let's delve into some knowledge sharing. What exactly is the seemingly ordinary automobile roll-on roll-off cargo ship, and why is it dubbed the cash printing machine of the seas? The automobile roll-on roll-off cargo ship, abbreviated as roll-on roll-off ship or RORO ship, might appear mundane at first glance, closely resembling general cargo ships or oil tankers. However, beneath its unassuming exterior lies a multi-layered deck structure, reminiscent of the layers in a Napoleon pastry. In essence, it is a 3-dimensional car garage that can float on the sea. Take the recently delivered Norwegian vessel, the Emden, for instance. While its height and width may seem unremarkable, this ship conceals a whopping 13 decks, capable of accommodating approximately 7,000 vehicles in a single voyage. Therefore, the center of gravity for this type of ship is naturally quite low. Moreover, to balance cargo capacity and the ship's weight, the multiple decks typically employ thin metal plates ranging from 4 to 6 millimeters. This, coupled with extensive welding, cutting processes, and numerous transportation and hoisting operations, underscores the complexity of the shipbuilding process. Any inadvertent mishap during construction could lead to deformation or even fracture of the ship's structure. Furthermore, the decks on these ships are not fixed, many can be adjusted according to the height of the vehicles, maximizing the utilization of space. For example, the aforementioned Emden boasts a total of 126 rolling devices, with 112 of them being movable decks. The name roll-on, roll-off ship originates from this characteristic. Consequently, not every cargo ship qualifies to be labeled as such. The construction of such a ship is laborious and time-consuming, typically taking around 2 years. According to estimates from Graham Car Carriers, the world's third-largest car carrier, the average lifespan of car transport ships is approximately 30 years. It is projected that the natural replacement demand from 2021 to 2026 will be around 26 ships annually. As of September last year, global statistics indicated a total of approximately 760 car transport ships, with an average capacity of around 5,300 vehicles per ship. The development of many industries is interdependent. With China emerging as the world's largest car exporter, there is a natural impetus for an increase in transport capacity. Moreover, given China's advanced shipbuilding technology, establishing its ships and fleets is only a matter of time. What are your thoughts on this matter? Feel free to share your opinions in the comment section. Until next time.